everyone. My name is Ken Haglund, and you are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well. We broadcast every Saturday from noon to 1 and talk about your health and your life. We cover a wide range of topics, including wellness, healthcare, elder care, end-of-life care, and caregiver support. We have another great show for you today. Joining me in studio is Ann Bailey, president of DARTS, and Jan Hicks, DARTS program manager for transportation and home repairs. And we are talking about an amazing service organization that provides great services to our senior population. We're going to explore what those are today over the next hour. And we are broadcasting live today, as we usually do every Saturday at noon. And we're looking forward to answering your questions regarding today's topic on these amazing senior services that DARTS provides. Please feel free to call us at 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Our friendly and talented show producer, Eric Nelson, will be answering the phones today. Thank you, Eric, for your support.
You're welcome.
Or, if you're shy and you don't want to talk to Eric, you can give us a text of your question or comment at 612-999-3426. Once again, 612-999-3426. You can find all of our podcasts for all of our shows on the AM 950 website by clicking the on-demand button and then clicking on our show logo, Living Healthy and Aging Well. The purpose of this radio show is to bring you specialists and experts and people with a passion for helping others from across the health and wellness field, to provide insights and recommendations on how to navigate the complexities and challenges of managing both you and your family's health and quality of life. We also focus on our senior population and how we can help you prepare for the various stages of life's transitions. In addition, we provide vital information for the caregivers who are essential to supporting our elder population. And I am so grateful for the opportunity each week to discuss these timely and important topics with you. And I want to thank you guys for the great, tremendous feedback you give us about this show and topics you would like for us to discuss. It's interesting. We are living in such a unique time in human history, as over 78 million people of the baby boom generation continue to move into retirement age. Our population mix is rapidly shifting. We have over 4 million people retiring each year at the rate of over 10,000 per day. Our own Minnesota State Demographic Center estimates that over the next 10 years, the population of Minnesotans age 65 and older will be larger than the entire population under age 18 for the first time in the state's history. The need for elder care services and planning is growing and will be increasing at an accelerated rate in the coming years. So each week during this broadcast, we'll be discussing the impact this mega trend will have on you and your loved ones and what you can do to prepare for it and enhance yours and your loved ones' quality of life. Once again, please feel free to give us a call with any questions you have on today's topic at 952-946-6205. Well, I am really excited about my guests today. These are people that have a passion for helping seniors and helping support our elder and aging population. And I want to introduce them at this time. The first guest here is Ann Bailey, president of DARTS. And next we'll talk to Jan, who is the DARTS program manager for transportation and home repairs. And so before we get into what DARTS does, especially for the Dakota County area, Ann, why don't you give us a bit about your background and how you ended up being president of DARTS?
Sure. Thank you, Ken, and thank you for having us today. We're so glad to be here, and you laid out a compelling statement as to what aging means in our communities. And I can tell you firsthand the caregiver side of it. So I was working at Target Corporation, so had a busy daytime job, and I grew up in Manitowoc, Wisconsin, which is on Lake Michigan, so 320 miles away. And my dad was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and my sister and I were here, and we had to figure out how to care for Dad. And my promise to him was he could stay in his house as long as possible. And then I'd say, just know when you don't know beans, Dad, you're going to be in Minneapolis. That's the way that's going to go. And we hit the wall, right? That my sister really felt like he should move now. Dad was clinging to the door jamb, so to speak. And I felt a little bit stuck in the middle, agreeing with my sister that Dad needed to move and not knowing how to move that immovable rock. And I was driving around. I live in Apple Valley, and I was driving around Apple Valley because that's the best way to solve these problems, apparently. And I landed in the Apple Valley Senior Center, and I always say I had the look on my face. And I think all of us who've cared for somebody hit a wall. And I had that look, and I'm going to say it was a woman who spoke to me, but I couldn't really tell you for sure. And she listened to my story of trying to find a place for Dad to live, and she said, have you called DARTS? And I didn't grow up here, so if I'd had seen the DARTS buses, it didn't register with me what they were. And for whatever reason, I actually picked up the phone. And mind you, other people had said call the Alzheimer's Association, and I didn't do that. There were other resources that had been suggested to me that I didn't use, but I did call DARTS. Unbeknownst to me, from that day forward, I had assigned to me what we call a caregiver coach. If that person had said to me, you need a caregiver coach, call DARTS, I wouldn't have made the phone call. My focus was on helping my father. And mercifully, they just said, have you called DARTS? And this person didn't identify herself as a caregiver coach. She identified herself as somebody who could help talk through situations, find solutions. And I came to realize that DARTS had that opportunity to have experienced this with hundreds of people. And when you're caring for someone, it's like raising a child. It's a people problem. It's not a textbook problem. If it was, there would be a book on how to care for your parents or your kids. And so she was able to talk through other people's experiences and help me equate them to what we were going through with my dad and find answers that were potentially helpful. And when the day came that we had to move Dad in a hurry from Wisconsin to Minnesota, they were able to point out at the time Hastings had a number of units. I think it was about 12 beds at the Regina facility at the hospital there that were for mental health cases. So it wasn't necessarily dementia cases, but anyone mental health. And it allowed us a spot to land him, and he could get evaluated, get medicated, and gave us time to find a memory care place for him to be. So throughout Dad's life, and he passed away in 2011, throughout his life, they were there for us, my sister and me both, as we had those big conversations, those big hurdles. And right at the end of his life, the memory care was a little concerned. He wasn't eating. He was acting out, and they wanted to medicate him more. And we said, well, what do we do? And DART's recommendation to us was that we meet as a family. So my sister was really the healthcare power of health person, but she and I met with the lead staff at the unit where he was staying and talked about what Dad wanted for the end of his life. And I really think it made that last month go quickly and in a way that he really wanted, because we knew Dad didn't want to be the person who didn't know anything. And so I think it made that last little bit where he was really pretty lack of a response. I think it really made that last bit be better for him. So that's what brought me to the DARTS. And then when you get all that help from an organization for free, you start to donate. And when you donate to an organization, they will eventually call you and see if you want to be on the board. So I was on the DARTS board for a number of years, and we were at a transition point with DARTS, and I was at a point in my career at Target. My husband had retired where I was ready to do something different. And so in 2015, I came to DARTS, and so actually I think today is my 1-year anniversary, or my 4-year anniversary. Woo woo. So 2015, I joined as the president, and we've been rocking and rolling ever since.
Wow, that's fantastic. You brought up several points that I want to talk about in the next segment here. But before we end this first segment, Jan, tell us a bit about you. We got about 2 minutes here.
We've got plenty of time, trust me. My story is not quite as compelling as Ann's, but however, it still has that same, I've still got that same passion. I had been with FedEx Corporation for 18 years, and I just needed something different, and I wanted to help people more. And I started with DARTS as a temporary employee, and then it was meant for me. It was just meant for me. I love helping people, and as the home repairs, as a self-proclaimed do-it-yourselfer, helping other people figure out their needs and their home repair needs was just perfect for me. And then later, as I became the transportation program manager, that was in my blood from the FedEx days. So DARTS was just a perfect home for me. I landed and I'm not leaving.
No, it sounds like it. So you had a background in transportation, which helped, and you are a DIYer.
And I'm a DIYer, right.
which is really, really helpful.
Yeah, and I come from a family of helpers. We just, whenever we can help somebody else, we do. So that's just in my blood, too. Wow,
fantastic. Well, there are so many things I want to explore with you guys here over the next 3 segments. Just the home repair side, the transportation side, a little bit more of the history of DARTS, and is that a model for other communities to potentially look at doing? So we'll do that. I hear the music. It's cueing us here for the end of the first segment. It's time for a short break. We'll be right back to continue our conversation with Ann Bailey, president of DARTS, and Jan Hicks, DARTS program manager for transportation and home repairs. And we are talking about the amazing services that DARTS provides to our senior population. Please stay with us.
Find a wide selection of outdoor hearth products at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces. Whether you prefer wood or gas, Woodland Stoves has the fire to fit your home. Pizza aficionados know nothing matches masonry oven baking for capturing flavor and nutrition. Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces can easily install one in your home or business. Enthusiasts use these ovens year-round for bread making, wood roasting, even grilling.
The mission and passion of Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces is to make the fire work for you. The way humans relate to fire is primordial. We have used fire to warm our bodies, cook our meals, and kindle our spirits. Our team has the know-how to do this in a clean-burning and environmentally smart way. Visit our store and experience the diversity. We have over 35 working units on display at the corner of Riverside and East Franklin. See us online at woodlandstoves.com. Find the fire that fits and works for you.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, out of the ordinary products and services since 1977. Eat fresh and support local farmers this summer by shopping at the Minneapolis Farmers Market. The market has the best selection of fresh and local fruits and vegetables, meats, and farmstead goods. It's not too late to pick up plants and flowers. Also, fresh at the market is asparagus, rhubarb, and green onions. The Minneapolis Farmers Market is open every day, 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. Plus, there's additional locations Tuesdays at the Hennepin County Government Center and Thursdays at Nicollet Mall. More details at mplsfarmersmarket.com.
I'm Rick Unger. You've heard the screamers, you've heard the shouters, the haters, the beraters. Well, now it's time to listen to a real conversation, a rational conversation. Now it's time for the Rick Unger Show.
Listen to the Rick Unger Show every weekday from 5 to 7 p.m. on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Stream at am950radio.com or search KTNF on the TuneIn app.
I'm Richie Mann with Sitka Salmon Shares, a CSF or community-supported fishery. The expression, know your farmer, is a familiar concept in the Midwest, yet know your fisherman somehow gets lost in our grocery stores, fish counters, and freezers. Industrialization has broken that connection between fisherman and consumer. Sitka Salmon Shares is reforging that connection through a sustainable, community-driven model. The world's wild fisheries depend on it. Sitka Salmon Shares creates a direct line from our small boat fishermen right to your door. Learn more at sitka-salmonshares.com.
Does your dog deserve food that is as wholesome as the food you feed your family? Food that is natural without artificial ingredients? At Total Dog Company, we carry Nature's Logic brand dry and canned foods. Nature's Logic pet foods are made without any synthetic vitamin mixes or other synthetic nutrients. All the goodness comes from real food. Find Nature's Logic at Total Dog Company in New Hope, right off of 169 at 9432 36th Avenue North, and at TotalDogCompany.com.
Welcome back. You are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well, where we talk about your health and your life. My name is Ken Haglund, and joining me today in studio is Ann Bailey, president of DARTS, and Jan Hicks, DARTS program manager for transportation and home repairs. And we are talking about these great services that DARTS provides to our senior population, primarily south of the river in the Dakota County area, but we'll talk more about that here later in the segment. Before we get back into our conversation, though, I'd like to mention that this radio program is brought to you in part each week by Minnesota Hospice, an independent, physician-owned medical practice serving local Minnesota communities for over 10 years with innovative and comprehensive end-of-life health care. If you have any questions regarding end-of-life care or support, please contact the compassionate team of experts at Minnesota Hospice at 952-898-1022 or visit them online at minnesotahospice.com. I also want to mention that one of the friends of the show here, Kelly Grosklegs, who's a licensed social worker, is putting on a great presentation on Tuesday, June 4th. So the Tuesday coming up here next, and it's about finding the possibilities in our pain. She does a lot of counseling work with end-of-life families, and she's a great speaker. I've heard her before. She's just fantastic, and she's got her presentation here at Adith Jeshurun Congregation, which is at 500 Hillside Lane West in Minnetonka, Minnesota. There is a small admission fee, and it's going to be a well-attended event. She does a great job in just kind of walking people through what happens at end of life and how we kind of move through grief and pain and come out better on that on the other side. If you have any questions, you can certainly email her at cwkheals@yahoo.com. So that's cwkheals@yahoo.com. And please check that out. She's a great speaker. You'd really enjoy that. Ann, could you remind our audience here, if they have any questions for you or your organization and want to learn more about DARTS, what's the best way to get a hold of you guys?
You can always look up our website, which is dartsconnects.org, or call us at 651-455-1560. And there's also an email address that's info@darts1.org. And later, Jan will give you the full Facebook layout because I don't know the Facebook name, but if you searched on DARTS, you would get there and family resources.
Yeah,
you would actually, if you were looking, you could go to DARTS Aging and Caregiving Resources. If you Google DARTS, one of the things that'll come up is the Aging and Caregiver, and click on that. Right. That'll take you to our Facebook page.
Right.
Okay, fantastic.
Thank
Good.
you, Jan.
And we'll remind the audience after each break here throughout the show so they can make sure they get a hold of you guys for questions. Boy, we talked a lot about your backgrounds the last segment and how you guys ended up getting into this area that has really become what it sounds like to me is your life's work. And I tell you, I'm so privileged and honored to work with people that are helping support the senior population, our aging population, all the way through end-of-life care. And it's so rewarding because the people that do this do it because they want to. It's just such a fascinating field. So, again, I really appreciate you guys being a part of the show today. But what I wanted to mention is one of the goals that you guys have, and we'll talk about this maybe in more of the history here, Jan and Ann, is that people do want to stay at home. And you mentioned that, Ann, in the first segment, how your father just was going to hang out of those doorposts and stay in the home. And it becomes really a tough situation for families trying to navigate through the aging process for their parents or their loved ones. Could you give us a brief maybe history of how DARTS began? I know it's been around for several years. I've seen the DARTS vans since I was a child in the Dakota County area. Give us a brief history of DARTS.
Absolutely. So we were founded as a nonprofit in 1974, and our origin was there were older adults in Dakota County who wanted to go to classes at Inver Hills Community College, and the barrier was they didn't drive anymore. And so that was the impetus for the idea of let's get some grant money, let's get a van. And my goodness, it was one of those 1960s vintage stretch limousines. Some of your listeners might remember those 1960s era cars were not small things. And that's what we took seniors around in and got them to classes. What we discovered quickly was that asking for a ride sometimes is difficult, but I think in this day and age with buses and taxis and Ubers, it's not so embarrassing to say that you need a ride, and that's a good entry service. And then when we got to know people, we realized that they were struggling a little bit with doing things like house cleaning or keeping their yards up. So they were go-get-em, they were sharp-minded, they had all the things in the world going for them, but they just didn't have that energy to put towards some of those home keeping tasks. And I know with my dad in particular, he wasn't going to clean anything after my mom died. And so having a house cleaner for him helped us, because then when I came home, we could go golfing and do something fun instead of cleaning.
Right. You could be the daughter versus the housemaid, or right. And that's what happens. I see this happen all the time. Is that the spouses or the children take on a different role,
right.
and at a time of your life when you want to spend the time,
right.
not be doing things. So again, that's why your service is so valuable.
Right.
We've got a couple minutes left here. Give us a little bit more about just how DARTS operates. You've got a lot of volunteers, it sounds like.
Right. We're a nonprofit, so we do our services on a sliding fee. Most of our services have some sort of donor support, so we're able to offer a sliding fee for most of our services. We still do the transportation, the house cleaning, the outdoor chores. Outdoor chores in particular, we lean on volunteers a lot to accomplish, because you cannot rake 62 lawns in a span of 3 weeks without an army of volunteers to help. We don't have enough staff to ramp up and ramp down that quickly, so we really rely on volunteers. We rely on volunteers for the lawn mowing throughout the summer, so if anyone's looking for a little bit of exercise and a lawn to mow, call us. And then a lot of our services our staff provides, and they provide a lot of our caregiving services. The coaching and the support groups are free of charge. So a lot of our caregiving services are free of charge. We also have support from Dakota County, as well as the Older American Act through the Metropolitan Area Agency on Aging, support a lot of our services too, which allow us to provide the sliding fee. So we have a lot of great corporate, foundation, and I'm going to say government sponsorship, for lack of a better word, that help us, allow us to provide those services at any number of places. The thing that Jan can talk about too is we've also added in the last 10 years or so, we added the home repairs element, and she can dive into that later today, because that's been a really interesting way to offer unique help from a trusted resource. Sometimes it's finding somebody that you trust to come in your home, and DARTS is that trusted resource.
It certainly is. All right, we're ending here the next segment. I hear the music. It's time for another short break. We'll be right back to continue our conversation with Ann Bailey, president of DARTS, and Jan Hicks, DARTS program manager for transportation and home repairs. And we are talking about the amazing services that DARTS provides to our senior population here. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hi, it's Tom Hartman. You know, Continental Diamond is special for a lot of reasons. The owners are Jimmy and Helene Pessis, a husband and wife team who had a dream to open their own store more than 30 years ago. They've built a business that is the gold standard. The readers of Minnesota Bride magazine have named Continental Diamond the best jeweler for the last 7 years. Why? Amazing, friendly, no-pressure customer service, a selection of fine diamonds and design jewelry unlike anywhere else, and the fresh-baked chocolate chip cookies are pretty great, too. Continental Diamond in St. Louis Park and at continentaldiamond.com.
Hi, I'm Matt McNeil, and I want to encourage you to join me weekday afternoons at 3 p.m. for The Matt McNeil Show. It's a Twin Cities-based full hour of talk where we discuss what's going on in the state and in the nation from a Minnesota perspective. We'll be joined by a lot of great guests, and we'll take your phone calls. Interact with us on the Twitter page, at Matt McNeil Show, the Facebook page, Progressive Citizen X, The Matt McNeil Show, and on email. Comment at am950radio.com. The Matt McNeil Show, weekday afternoons at 3 right here on AM 950.
Crooner's Lounge and Supper Club is delighted to offer its spacious facilities for your private function. From weddings, retirement parties, business dinners, or any special occasion, Crooner's combines a dedicated full-service special events team, an award-winning chef, and a beautiful lakeside ambiance to make your event a resounding success. Visit croonersloungemn.com to learn more about their private dining options or call 763-571-9020 to get a quote for your next event today.
No one beats Warner Stellian. No one. Our passion is earning your business, and we've guaranteed appliance savings for nearly 70 years. But the Warners know there's more to it than just offering the lowest price. So we've hired and we've trained the very best people to make every step of your appliance buying experience simple and fun. Now through June 3rd, Warner Stellian will save you even more with exclusive in-store specials. Go to warnerstellian.com or come on in for full details. Choose Minnesota's own Warner Stellian.
Are you thinking of buying or selling a house? Or just want to know what might be going on with one of your biggest investments? Then why not become a house geek? Hi, I'm Kirk Duckwall.
And I'm Chad Vandelot with Bricks Real Estate and host of the House Geeks Real Estate Show, here with your Market Minute.
5.21 is the average number of showings per week per listing in the median sale price range here in the Twin Cities. This is down over last week and is a key early indicator of demand in the marketplace. The median sale price, though, is still up 5.2% over the same time last year, and the 30-year conventional interest rate is at about 4.07%, down slightly over last week.
Conclusion. For sellers, the data is in and activity has started to slow back down as we approach the summer market. However, the median sale price continues to climb. For buyers, the slower activity is a welcoming sign to get back out there without quite so much competition. Thinking about making a move? Check us out online anytime at housegeeks.com.
With the AM 950 weather, this is Eric Nelson. Today will be mostly sunny with a high near 73, and tonight, clear with a low around 49. Sunday will be sunny with a high near 70 and a low around 51. Monday, sunny with a high near 77 and a low around 60, and Tuesday will be rainy with temperatures in the 70s.
EatLocalMinnesota.com's restaurant of the week is Burger Mo's, offering 20 fresh, never-frozen varieties of burgers, as well as delicious apps, soups, salads, dogs, paninis, shakes, and desserts. Burger Mo's is the perfect gathering spot before or after XL Energy events.
Welcome back. You are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well, where we talk about your health and your life. My name is Ken Haglund, and joining me today in studio is Ann Bailey, president of DARTS, and Jan Hicks, DARTS program manager for transportation and home repairs. And we are talking about this amazing service that the DARTS organization provides to our senior population. And we're going to talk a lot more about what those services are in this segment. But before we do that, I want to mention that this radio program is brought to you in part each week by the team at Genetic Health RX. They specialize in providing DNA testing to ensure that the medications you are taking or may be planning to take are the best for your unique genetic profile. By doing this test, you also help reduce the potential negative drug side effects that occur when drugs you take, your body is not able to metabolize them. So the team at Genetic Health RX works with your doctor to help create a personalized medication management program by using a simple one-time test that's covered by Medicare and most insurance plans. For more information, please call the team at Genetic Health RX at 612-991-9930. Once again, that number is 612-991-9930, or visit them online at genetichealthrx.com. Jan, let's let our audience know how they can reach you guys if they have questions about this amazing services that you guys offer.
Well, if they're trying to reach us, they can call us by phone at 651-455-1560. We're also available on the web at dartsconnects.org, or you can contact us via email at info@darts1.org. And of course on Of course, on Facebook, you can reach us at, if you look for Facebook at DARTS Aging and Caregiver Services, and that'll
Great.
bring up our webpage.
Great.
Or our Facebook page.
Yeah, and I want to just talk to Ann. Thank you, Jan. Talk to Ann a little bit about the organization, because it's phenomenal what you guys have accomplished here, and you've been around for 45 years. So there's a lot of sustainability, and the need is only growing, as we talked about in the first segment. This baby boom generation is needing and looking for a lot of services and help, especially because they want to stay independent. So, Ann, let's talk a little bit more about what DARTS is, and what does DARTS stand for? Is that an acronym, or what is that?
So DARTS original name was Dakota Area Resources and Transportation for Seniors. And over the years, we've said, let's just say DARTS. That's what we say anyway. So now if you looked us up on Charity Review Council or any of those, GuideStar, we're under our official name is DARTS. So, but it did have a meaning back in the day because of the transportation acronym. So I liked when you opened the segment and you talked about all the statistics, and you mentioned that 10,000 people in the U.S. every day turn 65, and I always like to remind everyone that's a pool party in every lake in Minnesota every day of the year. It's a good way to remember that one. And it's an amazing number to think about and to look at how that shifts the needs that we have and the reliance that we're going to have on family caregivers, because the number of older adults is outpacing the number of working adults. So there is absolutely a workforce shortage, and I think everyone's experiencing workforce shortages, and aging services isn't always the sexy career to go into. And I don't know how we convince people it is, but it is. The rewards, as Jan said, leaving FedEx to come and work for a place where she knew her labors really make a difference, it's huge. We had a group that was out volunteering on a spring cleanup job, and the woman's her husband had passed away in the past year, and yard had gotten out of control. It was a big yard, and it was daunting. And her neighbor was actually who called us to say, can you help out, Deb? And so we've got some construction going on next door to DARTS. We sold part of our property into a partnership where we're building senior affordable housing, which is exciting for us. And Big D Construction and Real Estate Equities put a team out there and said, we can help Deb out. And Deb called our outdoor tours manager, Craig, at the end of the day. She called his cell phone and said, I'm still looking out the window, and I'm standing here crying, thinking how happy my husband would be, how great the yard looks. And now I understand that I can solve these problems myself. I know places to call. I know people will help. I don't have to be embarrassed. And that's huge. That's what we all need. We need that support to keep us in our homes, and we need the courage to ask.
So again, I think that's just amazing what this service is, and I am learning more about it after meeting with Jan previously at one of the expos. So give us some sense as to how many people are being served by your organization, what your volunteer base looks like.
Sure.
Just give us some background, because it's an amazing way to bring people together
Right.
to meet the needs, these growing needs of our aging population.
Absolutely. So annually, we serve about 2,000 people between the caregiver services and the home services. That's not counting our riders. Riders are harder to count because we have a couple of different ride options, two of which don't collect people's names. So when we give rides to a senior high-rise or we run a circulator bus, we count how many riders we have, and we know we gave over 12,000 rides last year, but we don't know if they were. Well, we know they weren't all 12,000 unique people, so we don't know how many of those were unique individuals necessarily. So we're serving at least 2,000 people, which is a drop in the bucket for the Dakota County senior population. It's just barely scratching the surface. From a volunteer base, it goes up and down every year. And again, sometimes we don't always count everyone. We're always right around 1,000 volunteers. This year, I think it was just slightly over 900 volunteers. And this year, the number of hours that we tabulated, again, not everyone reports all of their hours. The number of hours that we tabulated were donated by volunteers was over 15,000. One of the really cool volunteer programs that we have that we just celebrated the end of the school year for is we have a program called Learning Buddies, and it's a side program called Pen Pals, and that's where mostly older adult volunteers, there are some younger people, help in elementary schools throughout Dakota County, some Ramsey County, and some in Scott County, so kind of go by school districts, and a couple of middle schools. And they just work with students, giving students one-on-one attention, giving students the opportunity to interact with a different generation. Those intergenerational connections are so powerful, and I know I saw the stat, volunteering can add like 7 years to a life of an older adult as long as they aren't overcommitting themselves. And intergenerational volunteering can add years to your life because you're staying fresh. We talked about it in my remarks to the group of that group that continues to learn. They thrive. I look at the world today, and you can be on any side of the aisle and still feel badly about the animosity that gets flung around. And I think some of that animosity goes away if you learn about another community. So having older adults talk to young people, and those young people may be of different domestic backgrounds, they may be of different racial backgrounds, that learning helps both directions. So the volunteers that we have in the schools always say that they learn as much or more as the students that they're helping.
That is so true. And the stats you mentioned about end of life or elder quality of life is that the three things of isolation, loneliness, and boredom is what actually kills people.
Absolutely.
And we are learning more and more about that from a psychosomatic and a psychosocial standpoint, how important it is to stay engaged. Because when you don't have a purpose, you don't have something to look forward to, life becomes harder. And so you're right. I mean, there's a life extension option here that people who engage in activities, especially intergenerational, I think just have a great benefit. And we tap some of that great wisdom and knowledge that these people have accumulated over their lifetimes.
There's James Hereford, the CEO for Fairview Health Services, was our speaker for our breakfast fundraiser earlier this spring, and he talked about isolation and the studies that have been done. And you've touched on one component, which is just the stimulation of your mind. The other is that isolation is really what can lead to people being subjected to scams or to having elder abuse because they don't have a trusted person to say, somebody said this to me and it didn't feel right, or they don't understand technology well enough. So again, these intergenerational connections can bring up their savviness level and make them a little less naive in the changing world.
Yes, that's exactly right. We've got about 3 minutes left in this segment here. Are there other, I know you rely on some public funding and some donor funding. I want to make sure people know that this is a absolutely worthy cause to help support. Can you talk about just how you're funding and the sources of funding that you rely on to help provide these great services to our seniors?
Absolutely. We're about a $2 million organization, a little bit larger than that. And about a fourth or a third of that funding comes from program fees. So we do charge, as I mentioned, a sliding fee. So we charge program fees for most of our services. Many of those where we're able to offer the sliding fee, it's because a community or a corporation has offered up matching money to allow us to provide that. And then about a third of our money comes from those contracts. So there's individual paying fees, there's entities paying some sort of a contracted fee, and then the remaining third is really contributions. Some of those are foundations, but the bulk of those contributions are coming from individuals. They're people like me, like Jan, who've experienced these services firsthand, and they're giving their time. And Jan won't say it herself, but she and her wife are lawnmowers and snow shovelers and help out. So they choose to volunteer their time as well as their resources, and then just financial gifts. And that's what keeps the wheels on the truck. Because transportation is expensive, you never can cover all of those expenses. Those donations really help to make sure that we're able to bridge those gaps in where the payments run short and eventually you just have to buy a new vehicle. Those donations help that.
All right. So people can just contact you guys if they want to make a donation or set up some type of a program where they can just make even a small amount every month.
Absolutely.
Goes a long ways
for
helping you project what you can do in the next, your next service area or growth.
From our website, there's a donate now button,
Perfect.
and there's an option to do a one-time gift or a monthly contribution.
Oh, excellent. That's great to know. We got about 40 seconds here left. When we come back, we have one more segment, and I do want to talk with Jan about some of these services that people understand. How do I utilize these services to help maybe my loved one? All right. Well, we'll be right back here. It's time for a short break. We'll be back to talk with Ann Bailey, president of DARTS, and Jan Hicks, DARTS program manager for transportation and home repairs. And we are talking about what great services DARTS provides to our communities and to help support our senior population. We'll be right back. Please stay with us.
We use technology every day to help manage our lives. Why not use it to help manage your medications? St. Paul Corner Drug offers several free tools to keep you on track while taking your medications. Use our mobile app to quickly order a refill, or the Meds on Q application, which turns your smartphone or tablet into your very own personal medication attendant. Email and text messaging options let you know when your medication is ready for pickup, making efficient use of your time. St. Paul Corner Drug, pharmacy the way it should be.
Located just north of 50th and France, the Great Wall Restaurant has provided a delicious taste of authentic Chinese cuisine since 1981. Specializing in Szechuan and Peking dishes, they offer one of the most extensive menus in the Twin Cities. Favorites include hot and sour soup, pan-fried dumplings, and mushu pork with homemade Chinese pancakes. Stop by their Edina location or call for takeout at 952-927-4439. See the full menu at greatwallrestaurant.us.
Native Roots Radio is proud to announce we've added an extra hour.
Yeah, Chushke, 1 hour goes by too fast.
That's right, Uncle Curtis.
I'll have extra time to share important information about our secret animals.
And report national and native news from all over the country and Canada.
This new hour is sponsored by Robbins Kaplan LLP, dedicated to redefining excellence for high-stakes litigation representation in Indian country.
We are awake.
Tom Hartman here for All Energy Solar. One of the myths about solar is that you save more if you wait, but waiting to switch can actually cost you more. While tax rebates make solar affordable, those rebates are often limited and decrease over time. So when you wait, you risk losing some of the incentives that make solar so easy to afford today. And besides, the sooner you get your All Energy Solar system, the sooner you reduce or even eliminate that high electricity bill. Make the switch today at allenergysolar.com.
Next time on Philosophy Talk, the life and thought of John Dewey.
A quintessentially American philosopher.
A founder of pragmatism, part philosopher, part psychologist, part social and educational reformer.
Education, he said, is not preparation for life, but life itself.
And democracy is the best way to achieve our highest ideals and aspirations.
The life and thought of John Dewey. Next time on Philosophy Talk.
Philosophy Talk, every Sunday at 8 a.m. and again at 2 p.m. on AM 950.
The entire buying experience with Rudy Luther Toyota is so worthwhile. Every new Toyota comes with Toyota Care, 2 years of free maintenance with every new Toyota purchased. Their super staff is wonderful, always ready to help. And there's the Luther Advantage Card. With every new and used vehicle purchase, you'll get 3 years of 10 cents off per gallon of gas at holiday station stores, as well as discounted car washes. The Luther Advantage Card keeps you happy in your Rudy Luther vehicle. Head on over to Rudy Luther Toyota, 394 and 169 in Golden Valley.
Welcome back. You are listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well, where we talk about your health and your life. My name is Ken Haglund, and joining me today is Ann Bailey, president of DARTS, and Jan Hicks, DARTS program manager for transportation and home repairs. And we are talking about the amazing services that the DARTS organization provides to our senior population. It's a fascinating organization, and it's one that I would highly recommend if you're looking to donate to organizations that are doing great work in our local communities. This is a great option for you. So go on their website, dartsconnects.org, and they've got a donate button there. Check that out. So Jan, this is going to be your segment because I want to talk about these services, but I also want to make sure that people know how to get a hold of you guys if they have any questions. What's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Well, you can get a hold of us at 651-455-1560, or you can contact us at dartsconnects.org on the web, or info@darts1.org via email. Or if you would like, you can go to DARTS Aging and Caregiver Services on Facebook.
All right, fantastic. And we'll give one more shout out about that here at the end of this segment here. But I want to talk about these great services that you guys provide. There's transportation services, there's home repair services, and we talked off the air here about these coaching care services that are help support maybe the children or the spouses of people that are looking for that help. But let's talk about maybe transportation initially here, because that's what you guys founded your organization on 45 years ago.
Exactly.
And what those services look like, and then we can maybe move into the home repair services.
Yeah. Transportation is the original function of DARTS, and we can travel the entire state of Minnesota. So while most of our services are Dakota County, the buses can go anywhere within the state. We can't go to Hudson, but we can go to Moorhead. But we have three types of services. We have individual rides, and that is a private pay, door to door. It's the individual is essentially the only one besides the driver on the bus, or a care partner, which then they always ride for free. But that's a service that takes them from where they live to where they want to go, and then the driver will wait and then take them home. It is, as I said, it is a private pay. There are other options in the metro where people can access services for less, Metro Mobility being one of those. If an individual qualifies for Metro Mobility, they can do that. The other option we have is the group rides, and that is actually open to anyone who wants to pay. It's a flat hourly rate. But we've had people like from the senior center in Burnsville that went down to Cirque du Soleil, and they had a wonderful time, and then, back again. And really nights, weekends, we are flexible enough to provide group rides for anyone. We take people from a lot of local senior living facilities to maybe we just go to Kohl's, maybe we just go to a grocery store, maybe we just go here and there. But it's nice for that group to just get out, and then they do their shopping and they get back. Some senior living facilities have found that it's cheaper to hire us to be their group ride provider than to have their own bus, their own maintenance, their own driver. Yeah, absolutely. We also offer driver training for people that are in the state. We have our dispatcher is one of 5 licensed trainers in the state of Minnesota. So that's just a little side note. But our other type of service, our other type of transportation is what we call them our loop services, but it's a circulator bus. It's a fixed circuit. We have currently in 6 communities here in the state, in the area, I guess, and we're looking at a 7th. But it's a circulator bus that makes 4 or 5 hour to hour and 15-minute loops or routes, and we'll pick up at the densely populated senior living places, and then we go to the Targets and the Walmart and the Cub and Lunds and Byerly's, and it's great because people from different living facilities, people who have more money, socioeconomic. Well, it's all different groups, all walks of life, socioeconomic, ethnic groups. They all get together and they get to know one another, and it's really kind of fun. And they start looking for their people. And if they're on the loop bus and Midge hasn't gotten on, they say, "Well, where's Midge?" And even the drivers know. Midge isn't here. And so somebody will often, they'll just know, oh, no, she's gone with her kids today. She'll be back next week. Don't worry about her. And we have other people that say, I've learned so much from my Loop friends. Like, because we have definitely older individuals and younger individuals. And they'll say, well, where do I go to get this service? And they're like, oh, I've done that forever. So you just go here. And I've ridden those buses, and it's like a little city just moving around, and it's their own little ecosystem. So it's a really enjoyable. First of all, it's a very inexpensive way for people to get around. It's one fare, and you can stop as many places as you want in a day. And those circulators run 1 day a week, and as I said, in 6 communities right now, and but it's a. I do get nervous. I told you this.
I'm going to pop in and say I think Jan's telling the story, but the important part, just back to the fundraising side, is the reason that it's an affordable fare for the rider is because the communities sponsor and support those Loop buses. So the 5 hours costs $25,000 to operate for 5 hours once a week, and the communities support that so that the riders can pay an affordable $2 to $5 ride all day fare. So if people are interested in saying, I want to sponsor that, the communities that we're operating in are South St. Paul, West St. Paul, Hastings, Lakeville, Edina, and Stillwater. And then we've got a little trial going with a Live Well at Home grant from the Department of Human Services that we're testing out a little bit of fun in Inver Grove Heights and Mendota Heights.
Oh, my gosh. That's great. That's great. We are up against the clock at the end of the show, you guys. We didn't get a chance to even talk about the home repair services. We'll have to have you back on for another show to talk about that.
Absolutely. We love having you, Ken. This was a terrific conversation.
Well, I wish we had 2 hours to go through because there's so much to talk about. And you guys, I think, are just doing a great job of setting a standard for what other communities can be looking at possibly doing in their areas, because it is really a community-based service you guys are doing. All right. Well, we got the final minute here. We're nearing the end of the show, and I do want to thank Ann Bailey, president of DARTS, and Jan Hicks, DARTS program manager for transportation and home repairs, and our conversation about the amazing services that DARTS is providing to our senior population. And I tell you, it really helps out the kids knowing they've got this service to help their parents. Jan, how about we tell our audience one more time how they can get a hold of you for any questions or concerns they may have?
Well, people can call our direct line at our office line, 651-455-1560, or you can reach us on the web at dartsconnects.org, or on Facebook at DARTS Aging and Caregiver Services. You can also reach us through our website or info@darts1.org.
Fantastic. We hope you enjoyed today's show. Please contact us with any questions or comments you may have. And again, join us next Saturday at noon for another live broadcast. And thank you for listening to Living Healthy and Aging Well, where we talk about your health and your life. And until next time, live well.